Leave. Only family is allowed here. My father said those words to me at my own sister's wedding. I had spent 18 hours on a plane to be there. I was standing on a gravel path outside a beautiful wedding venue, still holding my carry-on suitcase while soft violin music drifted through the open doors behind him. Guests laughed inside. Champagne glasses clinked. White lights glowed through the windows. And my father stood in front of the entrance like I was a stranger. My mother stood 2 steps behind him and said absolutely nothing. 3 days later, she called me about a $38,000 wedding bill. A bill with my name on it. That was the moment everything changed. My name is Athena Sinclair. I'm 34 years old. I live in London and work in compliance consulting. I read contracts for a living. I look for missing details, hidden risks, and the tiny lies people hope nobody notices. My family forgot exactly what I do. And they made the mistake of thinking I wouldn't notice what they had done. Growing up in the Sinclair house always felt uneven. There were 2 versions of childhood happening under the same roof. There was Paige's version. My younger sister got birthday parties, praise, attention, and support. When she turned 16, my father bought her a used Honda Civic and parked it in the driveway with a giant red bow. He called her my little star in front of everybody. Then there was my version. I filled out my own college applications at the public library because nobody reminded me deadlines were coming. I worked tutoring jobs after school to save money. Nobody helped me move into college. Nobody drove me there. I learned early that if I wanted something done, I had to do it myself. My father, Gerald Sinclair, owned a small building supply store in Charlotte. He talked about it like it was a huge business empire. In reality, it was a small building with a leaking roof and a few workers who never stayed long. My mother, Donna, spent most of her life agreeing with whatever my father said. Keeping the peace in our house usually meant pushing problems toward me because I was the easier child to disappoint. Paige was different. Pretty. Funny. Effortlessly charming. She honestly believed the world would always make space for her. And most of the time, it did. I left home at 18 with a partial scholarship and money I had saved myself. Years later, I moved to London for work. I built a life there from nothing. A small flat in Canary Wharf. Quiet mornings. Long workdays. A space that belonged entirely to me. I didn't leave home. Home left me first. Then one Tuesday afternoon in September, a wedding invitation arrived. Heavy cream envelope. Gold lettering. Expensive paper. Someone had spent real money on it. Inside was an invitation to the wedding of Paige Sinclair and Tyler Redmond at the Whitmore Estate in Charlotte. I searched the venue online. Crystal chandeliers. Perfect gardens. Massive ballroom. A place that cost more money than my parents normally spent in years. That immediately confused me. But what really stopped me was the handwritten note tucked inside. It wouldn't be complete without you. Please come. P. I stared at those words for a long time. For 7 years, my family barely contacted me unless they needed something. Birthdays were usually quick texts. Christmas was sometimes a group message. But now Paige wanted me there. Or at least that's what I believed. So I booked the flight. London to Charlotte. 18 hours. A ridiculous amount of money for economy seats in December. I told myself I wasn't going because everything was forgiven. I went because part of me still hoped things could be different. Rachel Torres, my closest friend from college, texted me after I told her. "You're actually going?" I should have listened to the way she said it. When I landed in Charlotte, everything felt familiar and strange at the same time. The southern accents. The humid winter air. The smell of airport coffee and fast food. I picked up my rental car and drove to a hotel near the university. I stopped staying with my parents years ago. Nobody questioned it anymore. That night, I called Paige. "Hey," she answered quickly. You made it. Anything I should know about tomorrow? I asked. Just be there by 2. Ceremony starts at 3. Her voice sounded clipped and nervous. Like someone standing in a crowded room trying not to say too much. I have to go, she said quickly. Wedding stuff. Then she hung up. I called my mother next. The first thing she said was, "Oh. You actually came?" Not, "I'm happy you're here." Not, "I missed you." Just surprised that I showed up. I sat on the edge of the hotel bed after the call ended and stared at the wall. Something felt wrong. The next afternoon, I dressed carefully. Navy dress. Pearl earrings. Low heels. Simple. Elegant. The Whitmore estate looked beautiful. White lights wrapped around trees. Music floated through the air. Guests stood near fountains laughing together. For one tiny second, I thought maybe things really had changed. Then I saw my father standing outside the entrance. Not greeting guests. Waiting. For me. "Athena," he said as I walked closer. "You need to leave." I stopped. "Excuse me?" "Only family is allowed." I held up the invitation. I was invited. That was a mistake. His voice stayed flat. "You shouldn't have come." Through the glass doors behind him, I could see Paige in her wedding dress. Laughing with bridesmaids. My mother stood nearby watching us. She didn't step outside. She didn't defend me. "Dad," I whispered, "don't do this." "The guests are inside," he snapped. "Walk away." I looked at him for a long moment. Then I turned around. I walked back across the gravel. Pulled my suitcase behind me. Got into my rental car. Locked the doors. And finally cried. Not because I missed the wedding. Because I had let myself hope. That night, I sat in my hotel room still wearing the navy dress. The TV played silently in the background. I called Rachel. "They did what?" she shouted. I told her everything. The invitation. My father blocking the entrance. My mother watching silently. Paige inside laughing while I stood outside holding an invitation nobody honored. Rachel became quiet. "Athena," she finally said, "people don't do something this extreme without a reason. You don't know my family." "No," she replied slowly. "I think I do. Something else is going on." I almost flew home the next morning. I even opened the airline website. I stared at an earlier flight back to London for nearly 10 minutes. But I didn't book it. 3 days passed. Nobody called. Nobody apologized. I worked remotely from my hotel room during the day and tried not to think about the wedding at night. Then I made the mistake of opening Instagram. Paige had posted dozens of wedding photos. The flowers. The cake. The dancing. The sunset pictures. The honeymoon countdown. There wasn't a single photo of me. Not one mention that I had even been there. Then my mother posted a collage. Old family photos. Baby pictures of Paige. And one old photo of me and Paige sitting on the porch as little girls. The caption said, "So proud of both my girls." I stared at the word both for a long time. If I was really one of her girls, why was I left outside? The next morning, my mother finally called. But not to apologize. "We need to discuss the bill," she said coldly. "What bill?" "The venue. It's $38,000. I frowned. "Okay. How are you planning to pay it?" The room suddenly felt colder. Why would I pay for Paige's wedding? "You signed the contract." My heart stopped. "What?" "You're the guarantor," she said. Then my father grabbed the phone. "Don't play dumb, Athena. Your name is on the paperwork." I stood slowly. "I never signed anything." "Then who did?" he snapped. I don't know, I said carefully. But it wasn't me. He hung up. I sat frozen on the hotel bed. Then something inside me shifted. I stopped feeling hurt. And started paying attention. I called the Whitmore estate immediately. A woman named Karen answered. I explained everything carefully. My name is Athena Sinclair, I said calmly. I understand I'm listed as guarantor for the Sinclair wedding. But I never signed that agreement. Silence. Then Karen spoke carefully. Miss Sinclair, if that's true, this is extremely serious. I know. I requested a copy of the contract. Then I called Rachel. It's real, I told her. She didn't panic. She became focused. Okay, she said. Now we work. The family pressure started almost immediately. My Aunt Caroline called first. Honey, your mother is devastated, she said gently. She says you promised to help pay. I never promised anything. Then came emails. Texts. Voicemails. Family first. Don't destroy your parents over money. You make good money. Just pay it. 22 relatives repeating the same story. That I had agreed to help. That I was breaking a promise. That I was selfish. I saved every message. Every voicemail. Every screenshot. In compliance work, documentation matters. Especially when someone else is rewriting your story. Then Cousin Dylan texted me. Something feels off, he wrote. I don't think they're telling the whole truth. Out of 22 people, he was the only one who questioned anything. Then Paige called. You need to just pay the bill, she said.